It all kicks off with a wide shot of a chill little village right in the middle of this lush green landscape. Meanwhile, a lone goblin is just chilling, sharpening his knife while waiting around. All around him, the ground is littered with guys who already got their clocks completely cleaned. Suddenly, screaming echoes from inside a nearby cave, with someone telling a girl to zip it before she gets hurt. The goblin shifts his attention to the entrance, listening to all the drama. He's just quietly sizing up the situation. Then he reacts like someone who just found the ultimate source of entertainment. Inside, a young girl named Jeong Haein is tied up and absolutely terrified. One of the thugs checks her ID and reads her name and address out loud some super fancy area in Seoul. The other goons are totally blown away, whispering about how she lived in a crazy, expensive neighborhood. Getting closer, the ringleader asks if she's chilled out yet and tells her to pay attention. He acts all sympathetic, saying he gets how jarring it is to go from a normal life to suddenly dropping into another world. Poking fun at all those fantasy stories full of orcs and elves, he confirms that yep, that's exactly where they are right now. He flexes that his crew got here and set up shop way before she did. And he makes it crystal clear that their whole job is helping out the newbies, so she's definitely going to need their services. To prove his point, the thug drags her boyfriend by the hair, showing off the absolute state he's in after getting a major beatdown. Haein screams in total panic seeing the awful scene. Unable to handle the stress, she just straight up passes out. The goon groans, super annoyed that she fainted again, and blames his buddy for going way too hard on the boyfriend. The other guy just laughs it off, saying they finally found a cute girl and it'd be a shame to ruin her pretty face. He points out she's the best-looking girl they've seen around here, so they need to play it smooth. He suggests waking her up as soon as possible so they can drag her back to base. But a sudden voice echoes through the cave, calling them completely gross and saying he just can't watch this train wreck anymore. The thugs turn around totally confused, asking what the heck their buddy just said. They stare at the back of their big ally, wondering why he decided to run his mouth out of nowhere. But the big guy just coughs, unable to get a single word out. And then he drops to the floor, totally out of commission. The goons instantly panic, having zero clue what just knocked their buddy out cold. Catching them off guard, the goblin pops up spinning his knives, casually noting how it looked like they were having a grand old time. The guys are absolutely shook by this little green dude just spawning. The goblin stares them down and suggests they play a totally different game now. Getting mad, one of the thugs curses and charges in for an attack. But he gets a nasty surprise when a super fast strike hits him dead on, making him scream in pain. The noise wakes Haein up, totally disoriented, right as the thugs yell to take the intruder out. She can barely process what's going down as she sits there crying in ropes. The guys rush the monster with everything they've got, shouting all sorts of threats. Keeping his cool, the goblin just adjusts his grip on his weapon. One of the goons swings a heavy sword attack, but our little warrior dodges it like it's absolutely nothing, and immediately follows up with a lightning-fast counter, hitting the target with crazy precision. Unable to handle the hit, the guy drops to his knees screaming in agony. The goblin watches his enemy struggle with zero sympathy. The last thug standing backs up in pure terror after seeing his buddy get folded so easily. Meanwhile, Haein just watches the fight, completely mind-blown. Trolling the guy, the goblin asks what he's waiting for since he thought they were still playing around. Freaking out, the dude swings his sword wildly, telling the monster to back off. Totally consumed by fear, he keeps yelling for his life. Seeing the opening, the little warrior jumps super nimbly over his enemy and strikes a vital spot, knocking the wind right out of him, landing smoothly right behind the falling dude. The goon's body hits the dirt hard, ending the threat right there. Haein shakes with fear, watching how easily this creature just swept the floor with everyone. Still conscious, the leader tries to strike a deal, realizing this monster actually speaks human. Desperate, he begs for mercy and even offers food, just trying to make it out alive. But the goblin just raises his weapon, while the guy pleads to know what he wants. Ignoring the begging, the warrior finishes the job once and for all, leaving the last criminal snoozing in the dirt. The winner casually sits on the defeated dude and sighs, complaining about how exhausting that was. But he quickly turns around, surprised by a sound behind him. Haein shrinks back in fear, trying to scoot away as far as the ropes will let her. The goblin walks toward her, holding his sharp blade. But instead of attacking, he just uses it to cut her loose. Satisfied, he notes that she's apparently still hanging around. Rubbing her sore wrists, the girl shyly says "excuse me," and works up the nerve to ask if the monster is also Korean. Crouching, he looks over his shoulder and sarcastically asks if he looks human to her. Crying, she argues that he knows the language, read her ID, and even helped her out. Shutting it down, the green warrior makes it crystal clear he didn't do it to save her. Totally lost, Haein begs him to explain what the heck is going on in this place. Keeping it blunt, the goblin points at the knocked-out dudes and asks if she didn't hear what they said. He repeats that they were all living a normal life until they randomly glitched into this awful world. Unable to wrap her head around this new reality, she looks down and begs him to say something that makes sense. Hearing that, the creature actually finds her freak out pretty funny. He tells her she should have figured it out by now, which just makes her even more confused. Still not getting it, she listens as the goblin asks if she can see any quest window and what the system is telling her to do. The girl just cries, completely overwhelmed by the whole vibe. Just then, a glowing blue screen pops up right in her face, making Heian ask what in the world it is. Chuckling, the warrior notices she's got access to the panel too and gives her a pro tip. Follow the instructions to adapt and snag those rewards. Right after that, he turns his back and tells her to fight for her own life if she wants to make it. But Heian panics, grabs his leg, and begs him to break it down for her better. Feeling the tug, the goblin's irritation hits the boiling point instantly. Grabbing her clothes super aggressively, he pulls her close while she screams in terror. The monster then brings his weapon right up to her face, making things crazy tense. He tells the naive fool that he's the most dangerous thing in this place, asking what exactly she expects from him. Dropping the ultimate threat, he claims that from now on he's going to crush any human in his way, and he only spared her on a whim. Crying non-stop, Heian asks why he's like this, since he clearly has the power to help people. Getting called out, the little warrior hesitates for a split second. His mind flashes back to a rainy memory in a wrecked camp, where a voice cried out that things weren't supposed to end up like this. In the past, the human version of the MC was crying, hugging a fallen friend, begging for help amidst the disaster. Seulga's lifeless body rested in his arms, marking an absolute heartbreak. Heavy armored footsteps break the sound of the rain, walking right up to the scene. Devastated, the guy looks up and recognizes the massive figure of the warrior approaching. The knight stops right in front of him, looking down at the tragedy. This was their leader, Ha Yuri, looking completely ice-cold. Full of pain, the guy reminds her that she promised to help their group survive this messed-up world. Raising his voice, he screams, demanding to know why this happened, since she totally could have stopped it. The warrior formally apologizes, claiming his mission was a success and the loss was a noble sacrifice. But since he turned against his own allies, the payback for treason would be brutal. Furious, the MC tries to defend himself, saying the soldiers attacked Seulgi first and he was just trying to protect her, reminding her that the woman was expecting his kid. Totally ignoring him, the leader lands a merciless strike on him, telling the guy to shut it and accept his end like a traitor. On the ground and badly hurt, the man repeats her words, disgusted by the whole noble sacrifice excuse. To him, this whole setup was just one massive lie. Fueled by pure hatred, he curses all these cruel humans with his last bit of strength. His biggest wish in that final moment was to pay whatever price it took to get payback for that betrayal. Snapping back to the present in the dark cave, a heavy silence fills the monster glares at the shrinking girl and decides to give her the reality check she wanted. Raising his voice, he drops the bomb that he absolutely despises humanity and isn't even part of that race anymore. With zero doubts, the warrior owns his new identity as a greenskin. The memories flood back again, bringing up those toxic words about the perfect sacrifice and the bogus judgment that painted him as the bad guy. Reliving the helpless feeling of trying to explain, he just wanted to protect his family from the guards, only to get silenced by the exact person who was supposed to guide them. That falling into the void feeling stuck with him through his final breath in the past. The lies about honor and treason just kept echoing in his head, fueling this wild rage against how fake those people were. The craving for justice and payback became the only thing keeping his spirit fired up. Suddenly, the soft sound of water drops breaks the vibe, bringing a crazy shift. Gasping for air, he pops up in a dark lake, respawning in a brand new body. Coughing up water, the guy tries to figure out how he's even still kicking. The first thing on his mind is his girl's name, searching for her in the pitch black. Standing up, he realizes he's in a completely random location. A glowing magic circle is chilling right under his feet in the shallow water. Frustrated, he curses out the absolutely ridiculous situation he just got dumped into. Looking at his own hands, the MC freaks out seeing his body got swapped into a totally different creature. Then this shady horned figure mumbles some ritual stuff, saying the old blood is gone and the light guided them. The freshly respawned dude's eyes go wide as he zeroes in on the creature in front of him. The guy introduces himself as Morkzul, the warrior shaman rocking a super creepy skull outfit. Pointing his glowing staff, the elder officially drafts him into the tribe and hooks him up with a new name to rock in this life. Repeating the word Gorals, the MC tests out how his new gamertag sounds. Feeling the energy surge, he realizes he's become a major vessel for something huge. Time skips forward, and the results of his glow-up are obvious when you see the enemies wrecked on the floor after some crazy fast combos. Watching the replay, an archer from the tribe hypes up his accuracy, thinking his fighting style is top tier. Happy with the progress, the archer tells the rest of the squad to hold their horses right there. She speedwalks through the forest to check out how the new guy is handling business. Back in the spooky cave, Gorls listens to the human girls begging, looking seriously annoyed. Turning his back, he tells Heian to hit the road fast before he changes his mind about sparing her. But she chases after him, promising 100% loyalty if he keeps protecting her. Thinking she's tripping, the warrior asks if she seriously wants to follow a dangerous monster, but she completely shuts that idea down. To her, the real monsters were the humans who promised help but brought pain, while he was the only one who actually had her back. Crying her eyes out, Heian admits she has literally nobody else to trust in this toxic place. Without an ounce of pity, the goblin pokes her forehead, calling her totally clueless, and warns her that blindly trusting people is exactly what gets her into these dumpster fire situations. Picking up the pace, the monster states as a fact that there is zero trust out here. But on the flip side, he mentions she got lucky spawning near a bunch of survivor camps. Down there, she's bound to find people way more willing to help than some grumpy green dude. Stopping in his tracks, he holds out a short tool for her to take. Seeing her confused face, he explains she'll need a blade when they try to charge her a crazy entry fee to join a safe group. Dropping some solid advice, the green warrior tells her to hide it well and use it smart if things go south again, aiming for the unarmored spots if anyone slips up. Turning away, he announces this little chat is officially over, and threatens to end her himself if she ever tries talking to him again. Crying and gripping the weapon, Heian calls out to him, begging just to know his name before he dips. Stopping mid-step, the MC hesitates for a second. His old human name pops into his head, but he instantly hits delete on that. Glancing back, he fully embraces his new era, proudly dropping his name, Gorls the Great Vessel. Somewhere else in the base, green hands are looting and stashing supplies inside a wooden crate. Then an ally pops out from behind the boxes. The clan's archer Meave asks if he let the humans slip away, reminding him the boss ordered them to hunt all humans. Playing it cool, the warrior just acknowledges she showed up. Caught off guard, Meave gets a little jealous, pointing out the human got his weapon when she hasn't even gotten one herself. Crouched down organizing the loot, he practically explains that dealing with such a weak human would give 0 experience points and was just a massive waste of time. Totally swooning over that answer, the archer figures he only wants to fight boss-level humans and cheers, calling him her man, which leaves Gorls completely weirded out. Getting all up in his personal space, she excitedly asks if he's that hyped to fight the overpowered warrior with the holy sword they saw earlier. Standing up and looking away, the MC clarifies he isn't hunting her just because she's a tough boss. With eyes full of rage, the warrior drops his real motive. His one and only goal is to completely wipe out the ones who stole his entire world. Feeling the heavy vibe drop, Meave steps back, definitely spooked by how intense her partner just got. The trauma of the past hits him like a truck. He thinks back to the absolute worst day of his past life, focused entirely on the one person he wanted to protect. Pointing at his own chest out of sheer anger, he says that on top of taking everything that mattered, those humans literally stole his life. Walking off with the supplies while Meave tries to keep up, the MC admits he has no clue why he respawned in this body. But since he did, he guarantees absolutely nothing is going to hold him back now. The intensity of his words makes the archer fall straight on her butt. Fueled by rage, he declares he made a vow to pay any price to wreck the ones who crossed him. Huddled on the floor, his ally watches his absolute meltdown, pretty terrified of what's coming next. A super dark, creepy aura surrounds the warrior. He promises to refund every single ounce of pain they put him through. Pure hatred glows crazy bright through a single red eye in the dark. Locked in on his payback, he swears he'll make everyone pay the bill in full. Suddenly, he notices his partner freaking out and snaps out of his rage trance, realizing he took it a bit too far. Facepalming super awkwardly, Gorls mutters a curse, seeing he just terrified the poor girl for no reason. Crouching next to her, he drops a genuine apology, saying the anger wasn't meant for her. Still sniffling, the archer admits she gets super scared when her man goes sicko mode. Getting back to the grind, he stands up and tells her to round up the squad. The play is to gather every piece of loot they can offer the tribe's shaman boss. Instantly hyped again, Meave salutes him and yells at the other greenskins to get to work right now. Leaving the cave in the rear view, the MC climbs up an epic rock formation. Taking in the massive mountain view, he takes a deep breath of fresh air and scouts the terrain. Deep in thought, the warrior scopes out the area with eagle eyes from the mountain top. In the distance, he spots the human girl running for her life through the woods to get as far away from the danger zone as possible. With a quick hand swipe, the MC pulls up his magic system interface to check his current stats. The blue screen shows his quest to hunt humans is sitting at 29 out of 30. Reading the pop-up, he realizes he's just one win away from getting the reward. Flexing his new build, he notices his moves are way faster and hit harder since his last evolution. He figures the grind will be a breeze once he hits full warrior status. His plotting gets interrupted when Meave's squeaky voice calls him from behind. Pulling up beside him, the archer happily reports they looted everything good and asks what the next play is. Thinking like a tactician, Gorls explains that some enemies bailayed during the ambush, so they're a 100% coming back with geared-up backup. Hiking down the cliff like a boss, he declares they're going to turn this exact spot into a permanent graveyard for any humans foolish enough to pull up. The sun is blazing in the clear blue sky, showing time is flying by. At the cave's wooden entrance, the setup phase kicks in with a ton of loud construction noise. Fast green hands are setting up heavy traps and prepping the ground for the ultimate trap card. Wiping the sweat off her face, the archer breathes a sigh of relief after finishing her chunk of the heavy lifting. Running over super clumsy, Meave apologizes to the boss while he scolds her, reminding her he said to handle it carefully so nothing gets busted. But they get cut off when the rest of the tribe rolls up out of nowhere, calling the MC boss and leaving him completely shook by the title. Super hyped, one of the minions reports that all the traps are set exactly how the new boss wanted. The dark inside of the mine is now totally blocked off by barricades of spiky wood, locking out the invaders. Trying to keep things chill, Gorls gives them props for the hustle but tries to clear up that he's definitely not their boss. But the crew completely ignores him and keeps hyping up his leadership. Fanboying hard, one of the little warriors says he watched the epic boss fight against the humans and straight up accepts him as the pack leader. Turning to the crowd, the minion pumps his fist and asks if everyone is down with this major decision. The hype is instant and deafening. A whole mob of greenskins throw their hands up and scream together, swearing absolute loyalty to their new commander. Riding the wave, Meave pokes his shoulder with a goofy smile, saying she accepts him too, but only as her man. The party gets cut short when a scout frantically points at the tunnel, screaming that the humans are rushing their position. Drawing his weapon with a wild grin, the MC says it's go time and orders all the low-levels to hide far away from the action. Staying behind, the archer looks at him and asks if she can jump in and help with the brawl. Knocking an arrow with total focus, she makes it clear she's ready to drop some bodies for her man. Loving the fearless energy, Gorls flashes a confident smile and gives her the green light, saying the real party is about to start. Outside, a massive squad of geared-up mercenaries marches up to the cave. The leader stops and points at the blood puddles, already noticing the absolute mess left behind. Staring at the carnage, the head thug refuses to believe one tiny little freak caused all this chaos. Tilted, he grabs one of the survivors by the shirt, asking if this is some kind of sick prank. Shaking like a leaf, the goon tries to defend himself, saying the boss is only doubting it because he didn't see the nightmare up close. Having awful flashbacks, the survivor explains the little monster just snapped, went crazy on everyone and solo wiped the whole squad. The boss calls the guy a useless scrub, thinking the whole story is just pure nonsense. With zero chill, he shoves the scared minion, who lands flat on his back in the dirt. Turning back to his heavy hitters, the boss orders them to push in and drag the little freak out alive, no matter what. He wants to see if this coward's story actually holds up. Barking the orders, the vice captain yells at the crew to gear up, making sure everyone knows the main objective is capturing the target alive. Feeling cocky, the guy gives the signal to breach, but gets brutally interrupted when a literal headshot drops him. The fatal hit folds the frontline leader instantly, catching the rest of the squad totally off guard and shook. The mercenary boss' eyes pop out of his head, having zero clue where that crazy fast sneak attack came from. Pointing at the shadows in the wooden structure, the survivor on the ground panics, yelling that the sniper is hiding in there. Camped out in the pitch black, Meave holds a perfect stance after dropping the invaders with a lethal shot. Seconds later, another perfect shot flies out and nails a goon right in the chest. The dude faceplints, screaming and coughing up blood. Seeing his squad get farmed, the boss loses his mind, super salty about getting clowned like this. Hiding in the dark, the archer giggles, totally trolling the slow and clueless humans. Playing her part in the master plan, she pivots and sprints deep into the dark tunnel. Blinded by rage, the boss screams at his frozen minions. Pointing at the dark entrance, he yells for everyone to push immediately and catch the creature right now. The rush continues with the human mercenaries sprinting like madmen into the dark cave. Meanwhile, Meave is doing parkour through the wooden supports. Using her momentum, the archer leaps up to catch a higher spot in the shadows. She sticks the landing perfectly on a top catwalk, keeping her speed up without making a sound. Down below, one of the invaders yells at the squad to hurry up and catch that trash mob. The goons listen and keep up the hardcore chase through the mine corridors. Reaching the rendezvous point, Meave gives Gorls the heads up that the humans are in the building. Hyping up her play, the MC says it's time for them to hit the back exit. She agrees, super hyped, and they both start booking it in the opposite direction. Meanwhile, the mercenary squad suddenly hits a dead end at a barricade. One of the human leaders sighs in frustration, complaining that getting juked by a basic mob is way too embarrassing to ever admit. But then, something catches his eye right in the corner of the wooden wall. A bright spark is burning down a fuse, lighting up the dusty floor. The guy's eyes go wide as he processes what's sitting right in front of him. Totally lost, he asks what the creature did, thinking this was just a basic roadblock. Taking the loss, the leader admits the enemy actually has some big brain strategies and is way smarter than his own team. Suddenly, the guy's eyes fill with pure dread as he zeroes in on the item stashed under the wood. Reading the label, he stutters, realizing it's straight-up mining explosives. A minion next to him spots the danger too, pointing a shaky finger at the box that's about to blow. Going into full panic mode, the boss screams at the top of his lungs for everyone to fall back immediately. The lackey barely has time to process the command, just frozen stiff staring at the bomb. A massive explosion completely rocks the tunnel, vaporizing the structure in a blinding flash. The fire absolutely consumes the hallway, swallowing the invaders with nowhere to run. The shockwave spits a giant cloud of fire and smoke right out the front door. Getting launched by the blast, the only survivor goes flying, screaming his lungs out. Hacking up a lung in the cratered dirt, the guy curses out the creature that baited them. Still dizzy, he looks up at the thick smoke, completely burying what's left of the camp. Up on the cliff, Meave enjoys the fireworks with a big smile, totally amazed by how huge the blast was. Turning to the boss, the archer quickly asks if everything is cool and if he's alright. A blue magical energy starts wrapping around the MC, leaving the girl amazed as she calls his name. The system interface pops up showing the quest was a total success, handing the warrior an instant level. The glow fades, showing off Goral's new epic build and totally shredded muscles. Taking a deep breath, the green skin flashes an edgy smile as he gets used to the new height. Feeling crazy new buffs surging through his veins, he thinks to himself that he finally gets what leveling up feels like. Down in the open field, the human minion groans, holding his busted arm. Super salty, he mutters that he tried to warn them, and his idiot teammates totally deserve to get wiped for being so cocky. A second later, the guy freezes, hearing a heavy landing right next to him. Staring down at the floored human, the MC trolls his durability, calling him a cockroach for surviving that blast. The leveled-up warrior grips his dagger tight, ready to extract the intel he needs. Absolutely terrified, the thug screams as he gets yanked up roughly. Holding the guy's face with the blade right there, Gorals makes the vibe incredibly tense. And gives him the cold, hard truth. Answer every question if you want to keep breathing or you're the squad's dinner tonight. The MC's mind flashes to a memory of a human soldier waving a white flag in an open field. The warrior notes that this survivor camp is giving him some serious flashbacks. Scoping the defenses from far away, he figures it doesn't matter if it's been 10 years. Things haven't changed one bit here. Heading back to the squad, the archer runs up looking worried and asks if there's a problem. Keeping it chill, the leader says no, this actually makes things way easier, but first they need to report back to Lord Morksul. Then he suggests they gear up all the boys at the main base before coming back to raid. Listening in, the tied-up human cuts in to remind the monster about their little deal. Full of hope, he points out he already marked the survivor camp perfectly on the map for them. Keeping it straight, the warrior agrees a deal is a deal and confirms hell let him. The goon cracks a huge smile of pure relief, asking if he's for real. Acting like he runs the place now, the human tells the other little monsters to move aside because the boss just gave him a free pass. He starts walking away, muttering insults and calling the little guys literal trash. But one of the goblins instantly leaps at his back, weapon drawn, and lands a critical hit right in his spine, catching him completely off guard. The cheap shot makes the guy scream in agony on the spot. Seeing the opening, another lackey jumps and covers his mouth to totally mute the screaming. In literally seconds, the whole mob jumps the dude, finishing him off fast with zero counterplay. Holding the shiny new map, the MC jokes that he did say he'd let him live, but couldn't make any promises about his squad. Back at the tribe's main cave, the warrior takes a breather after the long hike. Shaman Morkzul listens to the debrief in the dark, asking if he seriously wants weapons and troops to raid a human camp. Kneeling respectfully, the newly evolved warrior confirms it, saying he's already got the location, numbers, and layout mapped out. He guarantees the elder that the tribe has a solid chance at a win if they rush them right now. Sitting on his throne, the shaman boss thinks it over in dead silence. Suddenly, a super aggressive voice echoes, telling Morkzul to absolutely deny that request. Goral slowly turns his head, spotting another warrior crashing the meeting. The absolute unit Goff stomps in trying to look tough, asking shouldn't they be prepping for the big boss incoming call instead. Slamming his staff, the hobgoblin argues it's going to be a massive grind, so they need to stockpile troops and gear right now. The shaman agrees that timing is everything, but admits he doesn't have a solid reason to turn down the rookie's request. Salty Goff points a finger, calling Gorals a total noob who just leveled up, saying they can't waste good loot on someone like him. Not blinking, the MC slowly stands up and dares his rival to tag along on the mission to babysit the troops himself. With a cocky smirk, he trolls the big guy, saying he just needs to actually have the guts to do it. The hobgoblin clenches his jaw in pure rage, asking if the noob wants to test his skills right here, right now. Without backing down a single inch, the archer leader accepts the one-on-one and promises to show him exactly what's up. Things get crazy as Meave rushes in calling for her grandpa, frantically asking if her man is around. Goff gets all up in the MC's face, demanding a duel of honor and daring the rookie to accept. The archer is completely shook hearing this insane challenge. Without missing a beat, Gorls accepts, setting the stakes. The loser becomes the winner's absolute servant. This reckless energy just makes the girl panic even more. Morkzul drops the gavel and makes the fight official, totally ignoring his granddaughters begging to stop it. We cut to a massive dirt arena, where the two fighters are already squared up. The bleachers are going wild, chanting the veteran's name. The fan base for the older warrior is completely dominating the crowd. In the crowd, a minion points a finger at Meave, asking why the heck she didn't stop her boss from taking this fight. Getting defensive, she says she literally had no time and now it's too late to cancel. Playing referee, the shaman announces it's a clean one-on-one, no weapons or magic, and it only ends when someone taps out or gets knocked out. Pressuring the girl, the lackey warns that the opponent is super toxic and definitely won't let the MC walk out in one piece. Skipping the filler, the elder shouts to officially start the match. Raging hard, Goff lets out a crazy roar and tells the kid to bring it on. Stomping forward, the veteran trash talks the MC, saying one little level up doesn't make him a big deal. Full of ego, he promises to hand out a beatdown hell never forget. Cold as ice, Gorls just watches the sloppy charge. Punishing the slow speed, the newly evolved warrior dodges the attack like it's nothing. And with a lightning-fast sweep, dumps the big guy face first into the dirt. Before the opponent can even breathe, the kid follows up with a heavy punch straight to the face. The hit launches the veteran onto his back, stunning him for a second. The whole crowd goes dead silent, totally mind-blown by the speed they just saw. Refusing to take the loss, Goff gets up fuming. The crowd starts hyping him up again, sure their boy won't fold that easily. Trolling his useless effort, Gorls sarcastically asks if he's really not planning to rage quit yet. Before the rival can even talk, the MC dashes in and grabs him tight, saying he's heard enough. Flexing his strength, the kid locks him in a perfect chokehold. Slowly, the lack of oxygen makes the veteran totally pass out. With that, the opponent's heavy body drops, officially ending the match. Looking at his floored rival, the winner sighs and drops the truth bomb. Sighs means literally zero when your technique is trash. Up in the stands, the archer is jumping for joy, screaming her lungs out for her partner's win. Sticking to the rules, the shaman crowns Gorls the champ and guarantees his raid request is approved. Showing respect, the warrior drops a quick bow, thanking the elder for the shot. Right after, he turns around to head back to his squad. A whole mob of minions swarms him, calling him boss, while Meave tackles him with a massive hug. Flexing super hard, she brags to everyone, asking if her man isn't just the absolute best. While a goblin swears to be his ride-or-die right hand, the girl announces she's spending the night with the winner, leaving the MC super awkward. The chaos stops when Morkzul's booming voice calls the kid over. Instantly, both Gorls and the granddaughter snap to attention respectfully. The shaman slams the bottom of his rustic staff into the floor super hard. A blue magical energy starts pulsing crazy bright from the impact. Expanding fast, the light opens up a massive portal right behind the tribe leader. The warrior's eyes pop as he realizes it's some high-tier fast-travel magic. Waving the kid over, the elder reveals there's a very important person he needs to meet right now. Saying yes immediately, the MC follows the shaman into the portal, leaving his partner behind. Popping out the other side, they spawn in a super fancy, detailed hall that looks nothing like a cave. Once they're through, the magic circle dissolves, closing the passage. The young warrior takes a few steps, checking out the shiny floors. Walking next to the elder, he tries to take in how insane this place is. The huge room is decked out with fancy red carpets and a massive desk in the middle. A glowing, mysterious figure is chilling behind the desk. The new guy freezes, obviously shook by what he's seeing. Revealing herself, a woman with exotic vibes and light clothes says hello to Morkzul, noting it's been a minute since they last met. Totally lost by the map change, Gorls asks where the heck they just teleported to. Ignoring him, the elder just tells the kid to step up a bit. Doing what he's told, the warrior slowly walks up right next to the shaman. The tribal boss raises a hand, charging a little blue light on his fingertip. Tapping the kid's forehead gently, he tells him to bow his head to show some respect. Even without knowing why, the MC listens and waits for the next move. During the magical touch, the elder officially gives Gorls the admin rights to start his own independent clan, leaving him speechless. The shaman backs it up, saying the kid already proved he's got the skills, and a bunch of fighters are already following his lead. Then he points at the desk, explaining that the mystery woman is going to be his sponsor for this new phase. Wrapping up the intro, Morkzul respectfully bows his head to the host. The glowing figure stands up, radiating major golden energy everywhere. She introduces herself as Rumpelstiltskin, flashing a friendly smile to her guests. The MC stares at her totally amazed, realizing she's actually from that ultra-rare golden bloodline. Being super polite, the host pulls up an extra chair to get comfortable for a chat. Skipping the small talk, she confirms the kid's name and brings up that he's looking to upgrade his gear. But since nothing in life is free, she makes it crystal clear she's not just handing out free loot. Gesturing to the chair, she invites him to sit, saying she desperately wants to hear his backstory before making any deals. Taking the offer, Gorls pulls the heavy chair out easily. The warrior gets comfy across from the merchant, keeping a chill and confident vibe. Looking her dead in the eye, he casually asks which part of the lore she wants first. Deciding to keep it 100% real, the guy says he's going to drop the absolute truth about his respawn, whether she believes it or not. Listening to the warrior's tragic lore, the golden lady starts literally shaking with hype in her chair. Slamming the desk, she calls his whole revenge arc an absolute masterpiece. Totally fangirling, she admits this is easily the most entertaining lore she's ever heard. Meanwhile, Gorls just rests his chin on his hand, staying perfectly calm while the host loses her mind. In a flash, crazy magic fills the room, making books and stuff float everywhere. The merchant promises his backstory is going straight into her top-tier collection. Sitting back on her throne like a boss, she can't stop laughing from pure joy. Flexing how much she loved it, the woman leans in super invested, admitting it's been a hot minute since a story hyped her up this much. Across the table, the MC wonders what the heck is so funny about his trauma, strongly fighting the urge to just end this crazy lady right there. But keeping his eyes on the prize, he changes the subject and asks if he can grab his weapons now. Snapping back to reality, Rumpelstiltskin instantly agrees, remembering the kid can't grind without the right gear. Jumping out of her chair, she promises to hook him up with way more than just that. Getting right in his face, she swears to give him a super special gift since he's such an epic vessel, making him pretty curious. Then she turns and tells him to follow her through the massive hall. With a finger snap, the golden lady opens a fiery portal right in the hallway to show the way. Walking with maximum hype, she mentions her favorite part of the lore is when he got backstabbed by the person he trusted the most. Walking through the magic, Gorls spawns wearing a completely new, totally epic combat set. The host hypes up his look, saying he actually looks like a clan master now and asks if he's ready. Checking out his fresh fit, the MC confirms they are good to go. Clenching his fist, he feels a crazy amount of power surging through him thanks to the new items. Meanwhile, the merchant digs into a fancy chest to pull something else out. Showing off the bonus loot, she brags that her taste in gifts is literally unmatched. Right after, she tells him to pay close attention while she explains exactly how the new artifacts work. The new master listens in dead silence so he doesn't miss any of the patch notes. Time skips and we cut to the human survivor camp, with a white flag flapping in the wind. Miles away, the warrior feels the energy hearing his name being chanted non-stop. From the top of a rock, he looks down at his green squad totally praising their new boss. Gripping the handle tight, the master draws his brand new heavy sword. Pointing the blade forward, he orders his brothers to march, because hunting season is officially open. Going completely feral, the Green Army rushes the dense forest. At the human camp, the peaceful white flag vibe is about to get permanently cancelled. A scout runs like crazy across the field, heading straight for the command tent. Crashing the tent, he yells to the squad leader that they are under attack, making the boss think it's just a rival gang. Trying to catch his breath, the lackey corrects him, dropping the bomb that the raiders are actually monsters. The boss is completely baffled, thinking it's a joke that such weak creatures are pushing their base. But outside, the enemy horde absolutely smashes through the wooden gates, screaming as they breach. Leading the charge, Gorls remembers the Golden Lady's tutorial on his first gift. The crazy magic makes it so every enemy defeated by his minions counts directly toward the clan master. In the flashback, the host holds up 2 fingers, super hyped to drop the second huge perk of the deal. Right in front of the MC's eyes, a system interface pops up floating in the... He instantly recognizes that massive quest board from his painful past life. Shook, he realizes she actually managed to spawn an exclusive quest menu right in front of him. Flexing hard, she explains the warrior can now check this task panel anywhere anytime with 0 restrictions. Back in the current raid, he swipes the blue screen tracking his insane kill streak against the humans. Chuckling at how broken this is, the clan leader admits that seeing this magical stuff in real life is a total trip. On the battlefield, the raiders jump the guards, who scream in panic as they completely lose control of the situation. The little guys show absolute aggression, dropping enemies with rapid-fire attacks. Unable to block in time, one human gets absolutely clobbered by a heavy club. Spotting a gap in the center, Gorls dashes like lightning between 2 veteran swordsmen. With surgical precision, the MC takes out both guards at the exact same time without dropping his speed. Watching the chaos unfold, the human commander curses his squad, asking why they're getting farmed by such low-tier trash. Stepping up, the boss charges in with his sword, yelling he's going to teach these scrubs a lesson. Swinging fast, he tries to slice the green leader mid-dash. But the clan boss counters in a split second, burying a lethal blade right in the commander's face. Staring down the floored target, the MC talks back, asking who exactly he was calling trash just now. The human boss body drops hard, completely terrifying the remaining guards watching. One soldier freezes, paralyzed by fear seeing their strongest guy fall to a random monster. The panic instantly spreads, making the men turn tail and sprint for their lives once they see the real danger. Totally panicking, the survivors hit the eject button and scream for everyone to fall back to the main base as fast as possible. Leaving the wrecked camp behind, the human horde books it toward the distant horizon. Watching the cowardly retreat, the master warrior just sighs and calls them all massive idiots. One of his lackeys runs up super hyped, praising the boss, top-tier fighting and laughing at the scared humans. The moment of victory makes the MC's mind wander back to that chill chat in the luxury hall. In the memory, the golden lady points at him and demands to know what he's naming his new army. Thinking hard, the warrior repeats the question softly, seriously weighing the vibe that title needs to carry. The image of the enemy commander dropping from a perfect strike pops up like a clear vision in his mind. The blood dripping from his sharp blade right after the hit completely seals his decision. Snapping back to the battlefield, Gorls speaks up and hypes his green brothers for their amazing performance. Standing in front of a massive crowd of tired but victorious soldiers, he declares that today they've officially been reborn as true warriors. Throwing it back to the tribe's past, he points out they used to just hide in the shadows and run from everything in fear. But now they've actually proven their strength by taking an undeniable win against the humans. Firing up the squad, the leader yells that from now on, they're going to take even more victories by absolute force. The whole army goes wild, raising their weapons in unison and cheering while the master sets up the big reveal. Lifting his trusty stained dagger to the sky, he officially dubs the winning squad the Blood Dagger Clan. The entire greenskin base echoes with cheers of celebration after the epic win. Miles away, the woman of golden bloodline approves the name Blood Dagger for the clan. Curious about the choice, the merchant asks the MC for the special reason behind that title. Without hesitating, Gorls explains it traces back to the moment he took a life for the very first time, reminding her that a dagger was the exact weapon he used when he did that after respawning as a goblin. Fascinated by the cruel lore, the host admits that just makes her like the reason even more. Cutting to the chase, the clan boss asks what she gains by helping him out like this. Pacing around her fancy room, she says the story itself is her payout. Flopping into a luxury chair, she explains that hardcore stories like this are always the most popular. Staring at the warrior, she confesses that hearing about all that tragedy was fascinating. Getting a clear view of the intense rage burning in the clan master's heart, and the deep despair that turned him into what he is today. Hyped up, the woman swears she literally can't wait to find out how this epic story ends. Then Gorls ignores her excitement and just thanks her for making things way easier for the tribe. Chuckling at the thanks, Rumpelstiltskin thinks out loud about how she's going to make a fortune selling the final draft of the guy's story. Saying goodbye to the warrior, the host wishes the clan master an excellent hunt. Time jumps and we cut to the massive stone fortress of the 13th Human Guard Unit. A bulletin on the wall warns about the recent goblin raids and orders the base to buff their defenses. Reading the memo, one guard aggressively crumples the paper, thinking upper management is full of idiots. Totally outraged, the soldier refuses to accept the whole squad is shaking in their boots over some monsters. Trying to keep it chill, a buddy tells him the rumors say these things move fast and strike like ghosts. Getting even madder, the guy crushes the paper into a tight ball with more force. In a fit of rage, he tosses the paper ball at his friend, calling him a fool. Arguing that the survivor camp getting wiped just proves how useless those guys were. Dripping with arrogance, the human claims this situation is the perfect chance for him to finally level up in life. Confused by his buddy's ambition, the other guard asks what the plan is to deal with the threat. Staring at the trash on the floor, the guy focuses entirely on those creatures. With a sadistic look, he promises to personally end every single goblin that crosses his path. Far away, a tray of untouched food rests on the floor of a cold, damp dungeon. In the back of the cell, Heian curls up in the dark, hugging her knees trying to handle the terror. Standing outside the bars, a guard mocks her, asking if she's skipping meals again. Trembling with anger, the girl glares up and calls them all completely disgusting people. Finding the insult funny, the jailer lets out a sarcastic laugh. He casually jokes that the prisoner must have inherited that rebel attitude from her mom. Snapping instantly, the guy grabs the bars furiously and curses the girl out for having a big mouth. Demanding gratitude, he claims they helped her and reminds her she is absolutely worthless in that world. The soldier complains that they just wanted to have some fun, but she pulled a knife to defend herself. Too drained to argue, Heian just hides her face and stays totally quiet. Using a rusty key, the jailer unlocks the heavy iron door of the cell. Walking in, he sighs heavily, already fed up with the whole situation. With a threatening tone, he warns that he's about to show her what she's really good for. Just then, another guard gets his attention, telling him to hand the girl over to the goblin hunters. Flashing a wicked smile, the jailer decides the prisoner will serve perfectly as bait for the monsters. Under the moonlight, the terrible promise is kept, and Heian is tied to a wooden post right in the middle of the forest. Gagged and completely stuck, the human cries desperately waiting for the worst. A shiny trail of gold coins lights up the dirt path right in front of the post. The trap is perfectly set with the helpless girl right in the center of the dark path. Hiding in the bushes, one hunter complains about the strong smell of the tree sap used to mess with the monster's radar. Trying to hide his nerves, a rookie mercenary asks the boss if this obvious plan is actually going to work. Sweating cold, he stares at the veteran needing absolute certainty they aren't messing up. Clearing his throat, the pro hunter guarantees the coins on the ground will do the job of pulling the target. The younger guy instantly agrees, admitting cash has wonderful power. Even so, he's still unsure about how effective using gold against wild creatures really is. Staying professional, the older man insists all preparations were done perfectly, explaining that the monster's natural greed will make them follow the shiny trail without a second thought. Plus, the leader reveals that the necklace on the girl has a special spell to attract goblins. With a gross laugh, the rookie guesses the creatures also want to have fun with the prisoner, earning a scolding from the veteran. Clueless, the kid keeps arguing that a human must be way softer than the females of that race. Shutting down the nonsense, the pro hunter corrects his partner, stating the girl just represents premium quality meat to them. Clicking his tongue, the old man judges the rookie's stupidity right in the middle of an ambush. 4 hours of waiting pass, until a green hand finally reaches the first bait on the ground. Holding the treasure, the lackey celebrates his luck finding lost gold coins in the forest. Spotting the movement, the experienced hunter tells the group to focus because the targets just arrived. Several green warriors start picking up the coins, laughing at how stupid humans are for dropping that. In the middle of the group, Goral's large ears pick up something suspicious ahead. Focusing his vision on the wooden post, the leader instantly recognizes the tied-up figure. Strapped tight, Heian struggles in vain, trying to escape the thick ropes hurting her wrists. Completely shocked by the scene, the clan master sighs, amazed by the girl's talent for finding trouble. Ignoring the coins on the ground, he walks calmly toward the helpless prisoner. The girl's eyes well up with tears seeing her unlikely savior has appeared once again. Stopping right in front of her, the green warrior asks in a mocking tone if she likes living tied up like that. The human just cries without being able to answer, totally exposed in the center of the ambush. Shaking his head, the MC pities the pathetic situation, unable to believe she got captured again so fast. Using the monster's distraction, one of the mercenaries carefully readies his heavy crossbow. Whispering the final orders, the human leader tells them to aim for the target's legs, reminding them they need the girl alive. The clan master approaches the gagged prisoner asking her to keep calm. Recognizing her savior, the young girl is surprised. But she instantly panics and screams, warning that it's an ambush, begging him to run away. Keeping totally calm, Gorals replies that he knew about it the whole time. Just then, a clan scout reports the exact positions of the enemies hiding around. Wasting no time, the green squad pushes rapidly through the bushes. The archer Meve preps her bow with an excited smile, leading the group's charge. Watching everything, the protagonist jokes that the humans fell right into his traps. Still tied up, Heian is totally confused about how he planned that out. The story then jumps back 3 days to a clear blue sky. In a quiet farming village, sudden screams break the silence of the place. Inside, the human soldiers are overwhelmed and forced onto their knees by the clan's warriors. Standing in front of the scared locals, Gorals says he doesn't want to cause trouble and just demands they sell them some food. Terrified, the farmers quickly hand over some bags full of vegetables. The warrior looks at the amount offered and asks if that was all they had. Trembling, one of the residents begs for mercy, explaining that after the guard's taxes, that was literally everything left over. An elderly man cries in desperation, stating they only saved that amount so his family wouldn't starve. The clan master listens to the old man vent in absolute silence. Sighing in frustration, he glares at the captured guards and rejects their attitude of robbing their own farmers. Right after, he complains that amount of food wouldn't even last his group 3 days. Surprising everyone, the warrior drops some gold coins into the elderly man's hands. The man's eyes widen, completely shocked by the small fortune he just received. Gorals announces he's only taking half the food and leaves the money for them to buy more things at the market, guaranteeing their survival for months. The villagers bow, thanking the monster respectfully, while he asks them not to call him sir. At that point, one of the subordinates asks the boss what they should do with the captured soldiers. With a cold look, the leader declares trash like them don't deserve to keep breathing. Without hesitating, the greenskins finish the prisoners right there quickly and ruthlessly. Watching the heavy scene, the farmers hug each other terrified by the group's brutality. Leaving the barn behind, the protagonist walks out carrying his bag of supplies. He steps out onto the village street calmly, considering the job done. Nearby, the clan leader rips a wanted poster pinned to a wooden board. The notice announces the recruitment of goblin hunters in exchange for bounties from the 13th Guard Unit. Reading that, he flashes a wicked smile, finding the human's audacity funny. Running across the field, Meave approaches the boss asking if he got all the supplies yet. Showing the paper, he mentions that the local guards really want to hunt them down. Right after, he asks the archer to gather the fastest warriors in the clan, because he wants to have a little fun with those guys. Super proud, the girl agrees immediately and guarantees she never lets her man down. Back to the present after the ambush ends, one of the lackeys devours a carrot eagerly. The group of greenskins rests peacefully around the campfire during the night. Sitting nearby, Meave looks away thoughtfully. The archer watches her leader accompanied by the rescued human near the fire. Absolutely starving, Heian shoves food into her mouth desperately. The girl cries out of relief while chewing the bread, still dirty and shaken by everything she went through. Observing the scene, Gorls advises her to eat slowly so she doesn't end up choking, and jokes that the girl is an incredibly unlucky person. Huddled up, the human insists on asking if she really can't tag along, promising to do whatever he orders. Crying loudly, she vents that she can't take living in that terrible way anymore. Showing zero emotion, the green warrior reminds her he already gave a no for an answer. Outraged, the young girl screams that he shouldn't have even saved her then, because if he had let her fade out, she wouldn't have to be begging right now. The protagonist admits he didn't help out of useless pity, or at least that's what he tried to tell himself. Turning his face, he figures he can't play her bodyguard forever and needs to cut ties once and for all. Standing up, he agrees he made a mistake and declares that from now on she is on her. Desperate, Heian grabs the monster's clothes tightly to stop him from leaving. Staring at him with determination, she demands he end her life right there then. The extreme attitude catches the clan leader completely by surprise. Standing up, the girl states she'd rather meet her end now than be captured by that scumbag Lee Sang-jun again. Hearing that name, Gorls instantly raises his hands asking her to wait a minute. Intrigued, he confirms if she is talking about the warrior from the 13th Guard Unit. The human gets confused by the question and asks if the monster happens to know that man. Flashing a satisfied smile, the protagonist guarantees he knows the guy very well. Stepping out of the shadows, Meave approaches mentioning that guy is someone who definitely shouldn't stay alive. The clan master turns his attention back to the human and asks how long she was locked up at the guard's base. Still cautious, the young girl answers it was just a few days and wants to know the reason for the question. Gorls orders her to spill absolutely everything she saw and heard over there, and only then will he decide her fate. Away from there, the archer crushes a white flower in her hand, clearly bothered by the interaction between the two. She keeps ripping off the petals in the dark, consumed by pure jealousy of the human. The moment of irritation is interrupted when the leader calls her name. Changing moods in the blink of an eye, Meave smiles broadly and answers the call promptly. He tells his partner to gather the fastest and strongest warriors they have, leaving her curious about the plan. With a dark look, the protagonist reveals he's going to form an elite squad to crush that guard unit. Far from the forest, the imposing stone fortress of the humans stands tall under the clear sky. Inside the military base, an ID plate rests on the wooden desk with the name Lee Sang-jun. The unit's commander sighs heavily, leaning his head back on the chair while relaxing in the office. Sweating cold, he groans quietly, enjoying a private moment of pleasure. Totally given into the situation, the official praises the solid job of whoever is down there under the desk with him. The commander's fun gets abruptly cancelled when a guard crashes the office screaming about a major issue. Super annoyed by the interruption, the officer curses the guy out, asking if he doesn't know how to knock. Sweating bullets, the subordinate points at the window. He insists the boss needs to see the chaos outside with his own eyes. Jumping up in a hurry and fixing his clothes, the leader gets up complaining. He asks what the heck kind of messy drama is going down now. Outside, flies buzz over the bruised face of a guard totally defeated. The fortress courtyard turned into a terrible scene, with the green monsters stacking the bodies of the soldiers who lost the fight. On that first morning after the raid, the surviving guards gather in shock around the pile to check the IDs of their fallen buddies. Shaking with terror, the scout reveals to the captain that those were the guys sent to hunt the goblins, and warns that the rest of the team went missing entirely. Unable to handle seeing the heavy scene, one of the soldiers throws up on the ground while a friend tries to support him. Completely pale, Lee Sang-jun takes a deep breath and orders the lieutenant to double the number of sentries immediately. He also commands them to ask the main unit to send an extermination squad. Staring at the feet of one of the victims, the commander concludes those definitely aren't basic monsters. He grumbles with hate, remembering a certain scumbag. In the past, Lee Sangjun used to be a high-ranking officer on the front lines, considered one of the strongest among humans. Back then, he humiliated the defeated protagonist, smiling sadistically and saying he already knew that trash would end up like that. Remembering this scene, Gorls maintains a cold and focused look. The Green Warrior states he saw that scumbag's neck in a noose clearly on the day of his end. Observing the imposing fortress of the 13th unit from afar, the clan leader curses his old enemy. Focusing on the official's ID plate, the protagonist is left totally confused as to how that guy managed to make it out alive back then. Back in the office, the human captain pulls his own hair in pure desperation. Completely distressed, he wonders what kind of bizarre threat this is. His frustration comes from the fact that those little monsters were always considered the weakest and most useless race ever. Replaying the clash in his mind, he refuses to accept these creatures are fighting back so brutally and boldly, having zero clue what's happening. Losing his patience, he yells at the lieutenant, demanding to know if the backup request got sent. The subordinate quickly confirms they sent a carrier pigeon. However, far away, the messenger bird gets completely nailed by an arrow in midair, dropping before it could finish the job. The green landscape stretches peacefully under the clear sky, hiding the danger lurking in the area. In the middle of nowhere, a small rustic cabin sits isolated in the forest. Inside, Gorls holds newly acquired climbing gear. Satisfied, the warrior notes that with those tools he can scale any wall. Suddenly, a weird noise draws his attention to one of the wooden walls in the room. Smashing right through the planks, one of his lackeys leaps out aggressively. Keeping perfectly calm, the clan leader just turns his head to see what caused the commotion. In the corner of the room, an old human hunter is tied to a chair. The monster walks up, calling out to the old man. Surprising the scared guy, the Green Master tosses a heavy bag onto his lap. He explains coldly that this is the payout for getting in their way. Right after, he tosses some gold coins onto the wooden table, paying for the climbing gear he just grabbed. Closing the forced deal, the protagonist announces they are totally even and nothing ties them together now. He stares the old guy down, asking if the message is clear. Sweating cold and terrified, the hunter nods his head repeatedly, agreeing to everything instantly. Wrapping up the chat, the warrior turns his back and walks out of the cabin, opening the creaky door. Outside, Meave greets him with an excited smile. The archer reports she already gathered exactly the fighters her man asked for. A squad of greenskins bare their sharp teeth, pumped for the mission. They chant the clan's name and promise not to disappoint the boss. Satisfied with the speed, Gorls pats his partner's head, praising the solid work. The girl blushes instantly, letting out a goofy giggle. Thinking strategically, the master lays out the plan for when the sun sets. He orders the group to rush the front of the fortress and cause absolute chaos, which the archer accepts right away. Tossing some dark clothes on the ground, the protagonist tells two of his lackeys to put the gear on. Confused, they ask what kind of clothes those are. With a determined look, the leader announces that from this moment on, those two are the first infiltration squad of the Blood Dagger. Night falls heavy, bringing a shower of flaming arrows down onto the fortress courtyard. The humans scream in panic, warning about the enemy raid. One of the soldiers sprints frantically and rings the alarm bell with all his might, yelling that the little monsters are breaching the base. Outside the walls, Meave leads the clan's frontline. She raises her hand and orders non-stop fire barrages against the base. While the chaos unfolds at the gate, an agile figure uses the darkness to scale the isolated stone wall super fast. Using the freshly bought gear, the infiltrator throws a metal hook that catches firmly on top of the wall. In the office, the lieutenant tells the captain about the monster's aerial bombardment, leaving the officer completely shook by the news. Sangjun slams the desk, boiling with rage. He screams to seal the gates right now and send every available soldier up to the walls. Startled by the boss's tone, the subordinate salutes fast and agrees to execute the orders right away. Alone in the room, the human commander collapses back into his chair, sweating cold and shaking at how bad things are getting. Gripping his hands tight, he admits those creatures are definitely not normal, since he never heard of little monsters raiding a whole base. Out of options, the officer slams his fist on the desk, furious. He figures all they can do is hold out until rescue arrives, trusting blindly that the enemies won't get past the walls. But his confidence is totally fake. The metal hook stays clamped tight on the edge of the wall, holding the weight of the stealth breach. Patrolling the top of the wall, a bald guard stops walking when he hears a weird noise. He wonders what is going on over there. Gripping his spear, the human leans over the edge of the stone structure to check the dark below. Suddenly and brutally, a sharp blade pops out of the shadows and strikes the sentry in a completely unexpected hit. The silent impact drops the guy instantly, ending his watch before he could even scream. Pulling his weapon back, Gorls shoves the limp human body aside to clear the path on top of the wall. The Green Warrior vaults the wall like a pro, while his two squadmates climb up the same rope right behind him. Scanning the courtyard, the protagonist notices all the guards fell back to handle the frontal assault. He realizes Meave's tactic worked even better than expected. Behind him, the two infiltration lackeys draw their weapons in the dark, ready for action. The subordinate glances at the clan master, calling him quietly to confirm the next play. Swords drawn, the green trio positions perfectly on the roof. Full of confidence, they announce the stealth team is fully locked in. Being direct, the leader tells them to hit hard, clear the zone, and bounce. The allies agree instantly, while he reminds them the main target is the captain. Like literal ghosts, the trio leaps off the roof and lands softly on the fortress's inner walkways. Moving in sync down the stone hall, they sneak up right behind the patrolling soldiers. With super coordinated strikes, the minions take out two guards cleanly, giving them zero chance to react. Not missing a beat, the clan master sprints down the path like a fast dark blur. Mid-run, he throws a dagger flawlessly, nailing another human watchman perfectly. Keeping the momentum, the stealth team rushes down the wooden stairs heading to the lower floor. The Green Warrior leads the push with his eyes glued to his payback, fully locked on the final goal. Reaching a balcony overlooking the chaos outside, one of the lackeys clicks his tongue. He trolls the massive panic the humans are having over the fake raid. Dead silent, the protagonist spawns behind a soldier posted there and lands a critical hit on the guy. Riding the momentum, the trio grabs the knocked-out enemies and chucks them hard over the balcony rail. With nothing to hold on to, the watchman's body plummets down to the dark courtyard below. Watching the drop from above, the leader says goodbye to the defeated human with pure disgust. Far away inside the safe room, Commander Lee Sang-jun's eyes widen in absolute shock hearing a loud noise. The heavy wooden door to his office gets kicked open violently, marking the inevitable meetup. With a deafening crash, the heavy wooden door to the office is thrown wide open. Spooked, a guard steps back holding his sword and yells for the lieutenant in complete panic. Gorls walks into the room with heavy steps, while the officer realizes the invader's voice sounds crazy familiar. The clan master says coldly that the guy is definitely going to lose his mind once he gets a good look at his face. Focusing on the figure in front of him, the commander's eyes pop open, completely frozen in shock. Desperate, he curses the intruder and asks how it is possible for a little monster to speak the human language. Totally unfazed, the protagonist replies that shouldn't be his biggest worry, since he literally watched him lose his life with his own eyes. Revealing his true identity, the warrior greets Lee Sang-jun using his name with a dark smirk. The captain freezes up, sweating cold and shaking with fear as he recognizes the old teammate he personally backstabbed. The human's mind flashes straight back to an old, terrifying memory of escaping a dark cave. In the past, young Sang-jun was sprinting through the rocky tunnels, totally out of breath and terrified. Further back, a buddy begged him to wait, but the guy ignored him, saying he'd end up dead if he stopped running. The other soldier named Shin Diakho kept begging for help while panicking. Annoyed, Sang-jun told his partner to shut it and keep moving as fast as humanly possible. Keeping the pace, he thought that as soon as they ditched those enemies, everything would be fine, while looking back scared. Just then, an aggressive green monster popped up snarling right behind the running squad, closing the gap. Unable to handle the pressure, the teammates screamed in pure desperation for everyone to hurry up. Running right behind, the human protagonist lamented the fact that Sang-jun ditched them as bait just to save himself. A harsh reality check and pure dread took over the guy's eyes facing that nightmare scenario. Trying to hold on to hope, he yelled for his friend to hang in there because backup would arrive soon. Consumed by rage, the young guy swore that if he ever saw that scumbag again, he would end him, but he never got the chance. Back in the present, silence completely takes over the fortress structure as the payback finally goes down. Staring down the cornered captain, Gorls warns he's got a lot of important questions for him. Popping up at the window, Meave points out the spot is too exposed and suggests they take the target somewhere more private. Absolutely outraged, the officer rejects the idea screaming and declares he isn't going anywhere with them. With a sadistic grin, the archer aims her crossbow and threatens to pin him with some arrows to drag him out by force. The human sweats cold and trembles in fear, asking if the little freak is actually serious. Finding it funny, the clan master notes the captain never even saw him as a real person from the start. With zero chance to defend himself, Sang-jun gets gagged and completely neutralized by the stealth squad. With the target secured, the green team casually walks down the base corridors carrying the prisoner. Reaching the edge of the balcony, the warriors drop the human's heavy body onto the stone floor. Without an ounce of pity, the clan leader kicks the officer hard in the back, shoving him over the edge. The gagged prisoner plummets down the side of the high wall, dropping straight into the dark forest below. The brutal impact against the brush pulls a muffled scream of pain from the totally immobilized captain. Down below, the minions notice the drop and celebrate that the target survived, just like the boss calculated. Quickly, one of the warriors grabs the human by the hair, making 100% sure he can't escape. Still up on the wall, Gorls checks if the squad is good and tells the archer to signal the retreat. Following the order, a lackey blows a horn as loud as he can, signaling to cause maximum damage on the way out. The deep sound of the instrument rings out across the battlefield, reaching the army waiting outside. Instantly, one of the troop leaders yells to stop the assault and pull all units back safely. On the fortress walls, the human soldiers are left totally confused, seeing the push just stop out of nowhere. Relieved, the lieutenant orders his men to hold their fire, announcing the monsters are finally running away. The chaotic night wraps up, making way for the first rays of sun to light up the forest view. The day starts off chill at the Blood Dagger's rustic base, super far away from all the drama they left behind. A wrinkled hand holds out a plate with a huge piece of roasted meat at a camp nearby. Wrapped in a thin blanket, Heian stares at the food looking super tense and suspicious. The old human hunter tries to comfort her, guaranteeing the meat was cooked well and should be delicious. Even though she's starving, the girl hesitates and stays dead silent looking at the generous offer. Noticing her totally on edge, the old man sets the plate down and promises it isn't poisoned, telling her to relax. Beaten by hunger, the young girl finally gives in and starts eating in the chill yard of the camp. Breaking the ice, the older guy honestly mentions he really wanted to say thank you to her. He explains that if she hadn't stepped in that night, he would have been finished off right alongside the guards. The hunter points out that instead of making fun of him, she showed mercy, so he decided not to just ignore her situation. Curious about her background, the old man asks if she happens to be summoned in this weird world. Explaining it better, he drops that the locals call people who spawned in from another time and place summoned. Processing the info, Heian quietly agrees and admits that term actually makes perfect sense for what she went through. The old guy goes on, saying those people usually get skills through a ritual called a quest. The human looks away thinking hard, remembering exactly what the man is talking about. With a soft hum, a magic system screen pops up floating right behind the girl's back. The glowing panel shows an incomplete task, telling her to defeat a goblin to unlock her hidden power. Hiding in the bushes, two clan subordinates spy on the chat, curious about what the humans are talking about. The other replies acting all smart, hinting at some nonsense about what a human man and woman do together. Annoyed by her partner doubting her, the warrior raises her voice and asks if she thinks she's lying. The gossip gets totally shut down with a smack on the head from the clan leader, who calls them nosy idiots right away. The scene shifts to a dark room, where the human captain wakes up coughing after his long blackout. Realizing he's tied to a wooden chair, Sangjun struggles desperately while sweating cold. The freakout gets instantly punished with a brutal punch that hits the officer's face with full force. Keeping an intimidating vibe, Gorls stares the prisoner down and tells him to start talking immediately. Being straightforward, the clan master demands to know exactly how his old teammate managed to make it out alive. Spitting blood, the human claims he has no idea what he's talking about, and says he only survived because he didn't die. The sarcastic comeback doesn't fly with the interrogator, who lands a heavy hook right on the target's face. Giving zero chance to defend, the Green Warrior unleashes a ruthless combo of hits to break the prisoner. Unable to take the painful beatdown anymore, Sangjun screams at the top of his lungs, begging the monster to stop. Totally sobbing, the captain gives up and begs the invader to just say what he wants to hear. With a piercing glare, Gorls repeats the question slowly, demanding to uncover the big secret of his survival. Totally outraged by the interrogation, the human captain yells it's ridiculous to ask how someone who is clearly alive is still breathing. Keeping a cold expression, the clan leader fires back, stating he saw with his own eyes that man get publicly executed by the Holy Sword Warrior. The prisoner completely loses his composure, going into shock hearing the famous knight's name and questioning the insanity of that story. Desperate, the officer swears he never even saw that overpowered woman's face in his life, and has zero clue why she would want to end him. Out of patience, the Green Warrior grabs the human's bruised face hard and demands how he can act like he didn't trick innocent people, just to use them as disposable pawns. Raising his voice, the protagonist keeps pushing the accusations, reminding him the officer also handed over female prisoners to his bosses like a total creep. He breaks down how, after the human deserted to the west with the victims, the sword warrior hunted him down and delivered the final punishment 4 months later. Trembling with terror under the monster's grip, Sangjun cries, swearing it's a lie, saying he's never been out west and has lived in this same region for a little over. The unexpected drop totally catches the clan master off guard, shattering his absolute certainty. Letting go of the prisoner's face slowly, the goblin processes the new intel in complete silence. Evaluating the situation carefully, the protagonist realizes the human actually doesn't seem to be lying about the time he spent there. The warrior looks down deep in thought, noticing that Scumbag's rank is still just a captain, which makes him wonder what huge detail he's missing. A massive realization hits the green leader's mind, bringing up an almost unbelievable theory. With that, he takes a step back and quickly asks what today's date is, leaving the prisoner even more confused by the random topic swap. Losing his chill, the monster lunges again and grabs the captain aggressively, demanding the exact date including the. Totally terrified by the sudden aggression, the human stutters the date, revealing it to be May 7th, year 86 of the Empire. The clan master's eyes pop open, paralyzed by the insane shock of hearing that specific year. Putting his hand over his face, the protagonist tries to digest the massive scale of what he just figured out. Without another word, the warrior turns his back and starts walking toward the door, ignoring the prisoner screaming, asking where he is going. Sangjun struggles in the wooden chair, yelling that since the monster got all the answers he wanted, he should untie him immediately. Stopping in his tracks, the green leader glances over his shoulder and casually mentions he almost forgot one detail. Walking back to the chair, he admits he made a promise a long time ago that he never got the chance to fulfill, while the officer demands to be let go right now. The goblin's mind flashes back to when he was still human, remembering the hate-filled vow that he would give that captain a terrible end with his own two hands. Bringing the past into the present, the warrior grabs the prisoner's head firmly, catching the guy totally off guard. With a fast and ruthless move, the tribe leader finishes the job once and for all, taking out the enemy without a single hesitation. Staring down the deleted target, the protagonist sighs happily that he finally managed to honor the promise he made to himself. Outside the dark room, the day breaks, lighting up the rustic wooden base in the forest. With his thoughts racing, the Green Master realizes that Imperial Year means it is exactly 5 years before the day of his old tragic end. Putting the puzzle pieces together, he realizes in shock that his current status isn't just a basic magic respawn, but an actual time travel. Opening the creaky door, the warrior steps out into the fresh air, still processing the crazy new reality he just unlocked. Walking with solid steps across the camp grass, the protagonist walks up to the rescued human sitting on the ground. Stopping in front of her, he calls her name casually and asks if she's got a second to chat. Super hyped for the attention, Heian agrees instantly and jumps up to hear what he has to say. Not far away, the clan's archer stalks their interaction, hiding behind a cabin roof, totally locked onto their every move. The wind rustles the tree leaves under the clear sky, showing it's a chill morning in the green woods. Keeping a serious vibe, the green warrior crosses his arms and starts giving the human girl the rundown. Being direct, he tells her to pay close attention and asks if she is really sure about tagging along, which she confirms without blinking. He then decides to lay it all out, warning her up front that he can never guarantee she'll be safe in the middle of all this chaos. The Green Master keeps dropping facts, warning she will have to watch her own back because the upcoming boss fights are going to be way worse than anything she's seen yet. Looking her dead in the eye, he asks if she is still down to ride even knowing all the risks, and the girl doubles down with total determination. Faced with human stubbornness, the protagonist sighs quietly and tells her to memorize one specific phrase perfectly. With a firm tone, the leader speaks a few words in the native monster language for her to lock in. Confused by how the weird words sound, Heian puts her hands together shyly and asks what that actually means. He explains the phrase, tells the other goblins she belongs to him, guaranteeing most of them won't dare lay a finger on her, but points out the rest of her survival is her own problem. The human listens closely while the warrior holds up a finger, letting her know there's one last detail to clear up. Closing the deal, the master makes it obvious she has a free pass to leave whenever she wants if she ever changes her mind later. A little embarrassed by the monster's hidden soft spot, the girl thanks him for the chance super genuinely. As he turns his back to get back to the grind, the young girl runs after him asking to cash in a tiny favor, making him curious. Face red and eyes tearing up, the human begs for a spot to take a shower, admitting it's been a really long time since she actually got clean. Instead of replying, the protagonist randomly shouts his subordinate's name, making the archer jump out of hiding, sweating cold and swearing she totally wasn't spying. Ignoring the terrible excuse, the boss points at the human and announces to his partner that the girl is his prize now, ordering her to make sure everyone in camp knows it. The rustic wooden frame of the makeshift bathhouse stands out among the trees in the daylight. Thick hot steam rolls up from behind the large white sheet hung to keep the spot private. Outside the bath zone, the clan leader waits alongside the old human hunter who backed them up. The green warrior apologizes genuinely to the older guy for the mess, admitting he ended up owing him favors whether he wanted to or not. Chilling, the older man smiles and tells the monster not to stress it, since their debt was already totally settled. Gorls argues the clan was going to carry the defeated captain's body out anyway, so the help wasn't a big deal. The hunter laughs at the green boss's humility, mentioning he was planning to use the scumbag as bait if he stayed there, picking up on the heavy beef between the two. Dropping some lore, the old man notes that absolutely no one in this zone could stand the guards from the fortress anymore. He remembers how that toxic captain bled the locals dry with crazy taxes, and the soldiers would straight up steal whatever little was left, calling it official confiscation. The old guy admits he probably shouldn't be venting about this to a monster, but reveals he only became a hunter because of the absolute poverty caused by those corrupt guards. Watching a lackey drag the enemy's body through the dirt, the man promises the locals will throw a massive party when they hear the officer is gone. The chat gets interrupted by Meave, who walks up holding clean clothes and asks where the boss wants to stash the expensive fabrics he bought at the human market. Pointing at the bathhouse sheets, the warrior tells the archer to hand the gear over to the human washing up inside. Surprised the clothes are for her, the subordinate walks in and hands the items to Heian, who tries to practice the goblin phrase with an awful accent, leaving the ally confused. Hearing the noise from outside, the protagonist tells them to keep it down, since the whole camp already got the memo. Stepping away from the crowd, the clan master decides to organize his messy thoughts about this new timeline. Thinking deeply, he realizes terrible people like the human captain are only alive and well right now, because their actual expiration date hasn't hit yet. A huge, confident smirk starts forming on the warrior's face as he realizes the insane advantages of this setup. He lets out a low laugh, finding the irony of the situation absolutely beautiful while putting the pieces together. With a bright flash in his eyes, the protagonist sees the massive impact this time travel has on his playthrough. In a stroke of genius and hope, the leader concludes that the woman he loved most in his past life might actually be alive right at this exact moment. The warrior's mind flashes back to the tragedy where he lost his partner to the Holy Sword Warrior, deciding on the spot that his revenge quest can stay on hold for a bit. Thinking of his old friend's smiles and Sulga's kind face, the Green Master completely shifts his focus to an urgent rescue mission for his girl. Dedicated to changing history from all that rain and heartbreak, the warrior swears to himself he won't let his love suffer for nothing this time around. Locking back in, the Green Master swears to himself with a furious glare that he will absolutely destroy this whole world if that's what it takes to protect his girl. Far away, a single crow flies over the thick woods, while a body hangs upside down from a tree. Hiking through the dark woods, two soldiers patrol the zone using a rustic torch to light the way. Pure shock hits them as they lock onto the wrecked, lifeless face of the captain who lost the ambush. Right then, a squad of mounted mercenaries pulls up, and one of them complains they arrived way too late, confirming that's definitely the missing officer. Checking out the grim scene, the group's fire archer asks if the monsters seriously had to string the guy up like that. The mage spell thief answers like an analyst, noting he already heard rumors they definitely weren't dealing with your average trash mob. Looking super serious, the veteran leader admits he's got a really bad vibe about this, realizing the enemy is completely different from anything they've ever faced. Keeping his boss energy, he orders the squad to focus on retrieving the body first, guessing the creature might have left a trail behind. The Twilight Swordsman puts his crew on high alert, telling everyone to double-check their gear and armor right now. Staring at the deleted target in the tree, the veteran swears that today is the day they permanently end every goblin in the area. Totally locked in, he promises to get payback against the creatures that took out their human ally. Time passes and the scene cuts to the massive gates of the 13th Unit Fortress opening up in the daylight. The Ember Hunters ride their horses into the military base, while the local guards immediately announce the extermination squad is back. Watching the lobby fill up, the soldiers gossip that coming back this fast means they found the target, but the heavy mood makes it obvious the captain didn't survive the encounter. Strutting through the courtyard, the new security captain Kim Hangeol greets the officers super sarcastically and asks if they found the missing VIP. The guy rocks a totally toxic smirk, proving he doesn't care at all about his own unit's tragedy. Keeping it professional, the veteran explains that sadly they got there too late, and the coroner verified the body on the ride back. The mercenary boss then shakes a small coin pouch in his hand, reminding the human officer about their deal. He explains the squad threw in a bit of extra cash on top of the original bounty, even though they admit the quest isn't fully complete yet. But the new captain casually shuts it down, declaring that since they found the guy, the job is officially closed. Full of disrespect, the officer tells them not to dig any deeper for pathetic little monsters, saying it would be massively embarrassing if word got out that local security got clapped by such weak mobs. Completely triggered by his ego, the group's archer raises her voice demanding how this trash dares speak to their boss like that, while the mage tries to get her to chill. Not giving a single care, the captain tosses the money bag back to the mercenaries and tells them to stop crying and get out of his base. The veteran catches the bag midair, keeping a stone-cold face and saying absolutely nothing to the insane disrespect. Figuring it's not worth catching a ban over starting a fight inside, the leader just turns his back and waves his squad to roll out. The team rides out of the fortress gates at a slow pace, while the mage gives the boss props for keeping his cool. Riding past a wooden sign at a crossroads in the open field, the old hunter admits the more he thinks about what just went down, the more tilted he gets. Trotting down the dirt road, the leader complains about the idiots from the 13th Guard, wondering if those officers just see them as cheap NPCs. Taking the bitter loss, the veteran sighs and admits that at the end of the day, they really are just mercenaries taking orders and getting trashed. Trying to find the silver lining, the mage points out the officer actually threw in a tiny bonus, dropping about 2 extra silver coins for each of them. The archer crosses her arms super salty, complaining the captain flexed all that ego just over a few sad coins. Sick of the whole vibe, the girl asks the boss if they're seriously just going home like this, pointing out they've never seen goblins pull off big brain plays like that. Finding the girl's impatience funny, the magic partner asks if she still hasn't figured out how their boss actually operates. Leading the pack, the veteran confirms they're actually heading to the locals' houses to investigate the case themselves, since the whole raid is way too sus to just drop. Thinking deeply, the swordsman brings up the coroner's report, which showed the officer got totally battered before his end, having broken bones and massive internal damage. The image of the wrecked body flashes in the merc's mind, and he realizes those little mobs usually just go for quick critical hits and never troll their victims that hard. Hearing the breakdown, the archer's eyes go wide as she guesses they are either dealing with a completely new variant, or some overpowered boss is controlling the mobs from the shadows. Keeping calm, the leader suggests they hit up a local inn first, dropping the fact that inns are always the best spot to farm the best rumors in the server. Always ready for a joke, the old hunter adds they can also enjoy a chill drink while doing the detective work. The girl yells at him, reminding the boss he swore he'd quit drinking, but the veteran just laughs, saying it was a joke, and bets she's totally going to want a cup too. The scene cuts to a rustic wooden inn sign swinging in a totally different, super quiet zone. Underground at the monster base, the Green Master opens a stone room door and invites the rescued human in, telling her she'll camp out here for now. Amazed by the solid room, Heian gets surprised and asks if green warriors usually rock a lifestyle like humans, which the boss instantly shoots down. The protagonist explains he actually modded the space specifically for her, making sure she can stay as comfortable as possible during the long haul. The human says a shy thank you while the warrior points at the makeshift bed against the rock wall. With that, he tells her she can crash there and grab whatever snacks she wants from the loot the lackeys bring by later. Sitting on the soft mattress, she lets her exhausted body relax, finally feeling some actual safety after so much absolute terror. Looking at the girl, the protagonist honestly admits he has no idea how she feels hanging around a bunch of loud, chaotic monsters. But he guarantees that, for now at least, this private room is hands down the safest safe zone she's going to find. Unable to fight her zero stamina, Heian passes out instantly, making the master crack a tiny smile seeing the girl already made herself at home. The young girl breathes softly under the heavy blanket, enjoying her very first moment of actual peace since spawning into this world. Dropping the nice guy act, the clan leader shifts back to his serious, 100% focused mode. Sitting at a rustic desk with an open map, he decides it's time to clean up his messy thoughts and plan his next moves like a pro. With a quick hand swipe in the air, the warrior pulls up the magic system interface right in front of his face. The glowing blue panel drops his current stats, confirming he's level 6 as a clan master with a solid combat rank. Staring at the screen, he mutters how broken it is to open this window whenever he wants, remembering his past life system capped it at 2 views per day. Zeroing in on an important detail in the quest tab, the protagonist leans in to read the glowing text with intense focus. The tab reveals a 100-day survival quest that drops gold coins and unlocks a secret shop, making him super curious about this premium currency he's never seen. Checking out the tough class upgrade paths, the guy notices options like assassin and blacksmith, wondering if picking shaman or archer would make him follow the exact same build his elder and clan partner used. Thinking about his massive combat experience, the master realizes he spent his whole past life grinding with blades right up to his sad end, so he can't just randomly switch to a ranged build now. Gripping his heavy sword tight, the protagonist slams the weapon into the cave floor, declaring that rolling a frontline warrior is his only real survival strat. His mind flashes to the gross faces of the scumbags who crossed him, remembering he needs to get crazy overpowered to deal with all of them, fully locked onto his final boss, the Holy Sword Warrior. With eyes burning with pure hatred, The leader promises that even if his girl is alive in this current timeline, the sins those humans committed are absolutely not getting deleted. Taken over by a dark, uncontrollable rage, the warrior swears to make every single traitor pay the ultimate price for everything they did to his family. The heavy vibe gets completely shattered when the archer crashes the room screaming, hyping up the boss about some massive news she found outside. Caught off guard by the sudden noise, the protagonist quickly asks what huge update she's freaking out about. Pointing outside the room, the ally starts talking with a huge smile, ready to drop what she just found in the green camp. Suddenly, her eyes go wide, and that contagious hype completely vanishes from her face in a millisecond. Staring at the back of the room dead silent, the archer freezes in place shaking, while the master asks confused what just happened to his partner. Having a total meltdown, Meve starts crying hysterically and points a finger at the boss, calling him a massive, heartless liar. Having zero clue what the drama at the door is about, the protagonist watches his subordinate turn her back sobbing, yelling that she's leaving for good and hates her own man. Moving on pure reflex, the leader dashes and grabs the archer's arm hard to stop her from running, demanding she explain where this crazy tantrum came from. Furious and with huge tears in her eyes, the girl points at the human sleeping on the mattress in the back and demands to know why the boss's prize is literally chilling in his bed. Pinning the protagonist against the tunnel wall, the partner screams at the top of her lungs asking if they already hooked up, crying out of pure jealousy because he didn't pick her first like he promised. Trying to defuse the situation, the protagonist steps up and wraps his partner in a tight hug totally out of nowhere. Completely stunned by the move, the archer blushes bright red with tears still in her eyes. The clan master thinks to himself that hooking up with the human is just insane, and he hasn't done anything remotely like that. Still feeling insecure, Meve looks up wanting validation and asks softly if that's actually the truth. Dripping with confidence, Gorls reminds the girl that he is her man, leaving a little suspense in the subordinate gets instantly flustered, getting totally hyped thinking he means they should officially be together. But totally killing the vibe, the leader switches gears and asks what the big breaking news was. The girl blinks, snapping back to reality and remembering the super urgent reason she crashed the room in the first place. Dead serious, Meve reports that the famous squad called Ember Hunters is out there looking for him. The Green Warrior gets confused by the name and asks her to repeat what kind of hunters they are. Raising her voice, the archer confirms the crew's name and warns they are ridiculously overpowered enemies. Gorls starts stuttering the weird name, still trying to process how the title she just dropped sounds. He takes a beat, putting the pieces together in his head while trying to remember where he knows that lore from. A drop of sweat rolls down the protagonist's face the second the reality check hits his brain. Grabbing his partner by the shoulders a little too rough, he demands to know if she seriously just said Ember Hunters. Spooked by the boss's intense reaction, the girl steps back a bit and confirms she was literally saying that name the whole time. Without another word, the Green Master slowly lets go of his subordinate's shoulders, completely rattled by the intel. Sprinting through the rocky tunnel, the protagonist facepalms in pure panic, wondering why the heck this specific group had to spawn right now.